Hare Krishna. Welcome to the Śrī Bhakti-rasāmṛta-sindhu class. So, I thought we will do a quick class, or at least quick or not, but at least 1 hour minimum. Even though we are celebrating Deepavali, or the day previous to the Deepavali today, what we call as Choti Deepavali, or the smaller Deepavali. Tomorrow is the full Deepavali. So, but still we will do a quick class. I will share my screen. We can do the Mangalacharan. Om
Ajnanatilmirandaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena
Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Soyam Rupah Kadamahyam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yutah Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadhutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhan Vitamscha Namaham Vishnu Padaya Krishna Presthaya Bhutale Shrimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Niti Namine Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Deenabandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vancha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shrivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Srila Rupa Goswami Prabhupada ki jai. Okay, let's start here with this. Okay, I will once again share my screen. So, Śrī Bhakti-rasāmṛta-sindhu study by Srila Rupa Goswami, English summary study by Srila Prabhupada, called Nectar of Devotion. Please, if possible, repeat after me. Or actually, since we are doing a little, I'm in a time crunch, we are planning to do almost 1 hour class today. We'll see. Let's sing together. I think you're all expert by now in the Shardula Vikriditam meter. So unmute and we'll all sing together. Krishna Kirtan
Nartan Paro Hemamritam Bhonidhi Dhira Dhira Jana Yakaro Pujito Chaitanya Kripa Bharo Bhuvi Bhuvo Bharavaham Tariko
Vande
Rupa Sanatana
Go
Okay, or should we do lead follow? I don't know.
Lead follow.
Okay, fine. Let's do lead follow. Okay. Nana Shastri. Lead follow, okay. Nana Shastri Charanaika Nipunao Sadharma Samsthapako
Nana
Lokanam Hitakarino Tribhuvane Manyo Sharanyakaro Radha Krishna Padaravinda Bhajana Nandena Mattaliko
Radha Krishna
Govinda Bhajana
Adhiko
Vande Rupa Sanatano Raghuyugo Shri Jiva Gopalako
Vande Rupa Sanatana Jiva Gopalako.
Okay, now let us recite the memorization verses. Anyabhilashita Shunyam
Shunyam
Jnana Karmadhyanavritam
Janavritam
Avritam
Nukulyena Krishnanu
Anukulyena Krishnano
Sheelanam Bhaktiruttama
Uttama
Upadhi Vinirmuktam
Sarvopadi Vinimuktam
Nirmuktam
Tatparatvena Nirmalam
Tatparatvena Nirmalam
Nirmalam
Ikena Rishikesha
Rishikesha
Shivanam Bhaktiruchyate
Sevanam
Nam
Bhakti
Bhakti
Shri Krishna Namadi
Shri
Krishna Namadi
Namadi
Na Bhavet Grahyamindriyai
Indriyai
Devon Mukhe Hi Jivhado
Mukhe Jiva
Swayam Eva Spuratyadaha
Eva Suratya Adaha
Anasaktasya Vishayan
Asatasya Vishayan
Shayam
Yatharham Upayunjataha
Arham Punjataha
Nirbandha Krishna Sambandhe
Nirbandha Krishna Sambandhe
Vande
Vairagyamuchyate.
Vairagyam Uchyate.
Okay, very good. So let us start with today's topic. Right. I will share my screen again. Recap of what we have done so far. So, which chapter are we on, or what is the main theme with what are we discussing? Quick.
Vaidhi
Bhava Bhakti. Wave 2.
Vaidhi.
Vaidhi Bhakti and
Yes, Vaidhi Bhakti, not Bhava Bhakti. All right. And larger name of the chapter is what? From Bhakti-rasāmṛta-sindhu standpoint?
Sādhana Bhakti.
Yeah, Sadhan Bhakti, not
Sadhan.
Oh,
Sadhan.
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 Okay. Sadhan Bhakti. Okay. So let's do a quick recap of what we have discussed so far. So why do I have a picture of a lion here?
Singhavalokan.
Very nice. Simhavalokan. Look back. Lion always looks back and makes that there is no, enemies chasing him. So 3 types of bhakti have been named. What are the 3 types of bhakti?
Sadhan, Bhav and Prem.
Sadhan Bhakti, Bhava Bhakti, Prema Bhakti.
Very nice. Now you both should not answer. You are very expert students. So what is the main definition of Sadhan Bhakti, main aspect? Anyone? So main aspect of Sadhan Bhakti is Bhakti which is executed by the senses. That is Sadhan Bhakti. And secondly, it leads to Bhava Bhakti. 2 types of Sadhan Bhakti. What are 2 types of Sadhan Bhakti? Which we have discussed. Come on, quick.
Vaidhi Bhakti and Raga Bhakti.
Vaidhi Bhakti and Raganuga Bhakti.
Raganuga.
So then we did a very brief introduction to Raganuga Bhakti. And then we went into the definition of Vaidhi Bhakti. What is the definition largely of Vaidhi Bhakti?
Bhakti that is done by following the
scriptures and regulations, right?
Okay, there's one more aspect. Somebody else had unmuted. Can you say?
When you follow the rules and instructions, that is the
Okay. One piece is missing.
Happens due to element of fear.
Yes, happens due to, but one more element is missing. When there is
Due to lack of rag to
Very
Krishna.
due to lack of raga, due to lack of natural internal attachment to Krishna, or internal desire for attachment to Krishna. See, internal attachment to Krishna may not exist. That's why you will perform raga bhakti, but at least there is intense desire to develop attachment for Krishna. When that is absent, then Vaidhi Bhakti comes in, and there is an element of fear in it that one should perform bhakti, otherwise bad things could happen. What is the fundamental principle of Vaidhi Bhakti? The most fundamental principle. The spirit, we remember we discussed spirit and letter of the law. What is the spirit? Come on, very quick.
One should always remember Vishnu and never forget him.
Yes, very nice. Always remember Vishnu, or always remember Krishna, and never forget him. Smartavyah satatam Vishnur vismartavyo na jatuchit. So always remember, and vismartyo na. Vismartavyo na, never forget. So all this is the highest principle. All other principles or rules and injunctions, means rules and regulations, vidhi and nishedha, do's and don'ts, are subservient to this. So we discussed that. Then we discussed vaidhi in varnashram. This you may or may not remember, but the main purpose of varnashrama, of living in a society, in an organized society, whether it is through a family or through brahmacharya or sannyasa, or as a brahmana, kshatriya, vaishya, is to do bhakti. So whatever way in which you are living, or your living situation is organized, bhakti should be always taken up. Next, we will discuss. So this is a quick recap of where we are. Just wanted to quickly sort of make sense of what we have covered in sadhana bhakti. And now, today also very important class. Please pay attention. Very important concepts will come. Very practical class today about learning something very important, especially for all of us. Because at least for me, who is not a very advanced or a very, shuddha uttama bhakta, a beginner level devotee. So before we go there, so that will be, I'm just trying to give you the what is coming up in today's class. But before that, the results of Vaidhi Bhakti are going to be discussed. So results of Vaidhi Bhakti are basically described in this 12th and 13th two verses, and the 12th verse is basically the same, is taken again from Srimad Bhagavatam, 11th canto, 27th chapter, 49th verse. So I will go ahead and expand this out. So what it says is that evam kriya yoga panthaihi puman vaidhika tantrikaihi archan ubhayatah siddhim matto vindati abhipsitam. So the thing to note here is that, so the translation is, by worshipping me through the various methods prescribed in the Vedas and Tantras, and this includes all Kriya Yoga. So here you see the word Kriya Yoga Panthai. So any path that is Kriya Yoga or Vaidika according to the Vedas or Tantras. Tantra, somebody asked a question, are the also a part of the Shastra parallel to the Vedas from Lord Shiva? So it's not like some black magic or something. Tantra means it's just another line of shastra. So all the activities mentioned there, if one does those, then you will see here it says Archan Ubhayataha Siddhim. Archan means to do Archana or to perform those activities. Ubhayataha arises, Siddhi means perfection. So perfection arises by any of these methods as given by me. Lord Krishna is saying, Matto. His desired perfection will come in this life and the next. So the point is that Vaidhi Bhakti provides the highest result. It is not that one must do Raganuga Bhakti. Vaidhi Bhakti alone can provide the highest results, all the desired results, spiritual and material, including going attainment of Vaikuntha Lok, or impersonal liberation, or even material results such as removal of suffering, bringing auspiciousness. We studied this, Klesha Agni and Shubhada. So Bhakti gives material benedictions, brings material auspiciousness, removes suffering, and this is Vaidhi Bhakti, mind you. Definitely Raganuga Bhakti also, but Vaidhi Bhakti also gives the full result all the way up to Prema. Therefore, this is another very important verse from Srimad Bhagavatam, 2nd canto, 3rd chapter, 10th verse, 2.3.10. Remember this verse. And very beautifully it has been written here, Akamaha sarva kamo va moksha kama udaradhi tivrena bhakti yogena yajeta purusham param. So whether one has a kama, has no desires. Kama means strong desire for something material. Akama, no material desires. Or sarva kama, he has a lot of material desires. Or moksha kama means desire, again, not this time not a material but a spiritual desire for moksha. Such a person, udaradhi, if he is intelligent, tivrena bhakti yogena, he will perform very intense bhakti yoga. Now, if you see, all our desires can be categorized into these three. Is there any desire anyone has which is not part of these? It also includes akamaha, which means no desires or material desires or spiritual desire. Now everything is covered, like Vamandev covered, in 3 steps he covered everything. So here in 3 words, all possible desires have been covered. Material, spiritual, and no desires. What is left? Nothing is left. In all these 3 situations, one should perform Tivrena Bhakti Yogena if you are intelligent. If an intelligent person exists, Udaradhi, then he will perform Tivra Bhakti Yoga. So, this is the translation. A person who has broad intelligence, I'm taking the Srila Prabhupada's translations, that is Udaradhi, whether he be full of all material desire, without any material desire, or desiring liberation, must by all means is, the referring to Tivra, very strong. Tivra, those who understand Hindi will know that it means intense. So must intensely, I could say intensely worship the Supreme Lord, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, or intensely perform Bhakti Yoga to Purusham Param, to the Supreme Lord. Not Bhakti Yoga to somebody else, but to the Supreme Lord. So basically the point is there shouldn't really be any alternative to Bhakti. Why invest any energy in doing anything else? There is absolutely no reason according to this verse from Srimad Bhagavatam. This another verse also says in the 1st canto, 2nd chapter, 13th verse says that the highest outcome of bhakti is, let us see what. Surarshe vihita shastre harim uddishya ya kriya saiva bhaktir iti prokta taya bhakti para bhavet. So by all the activities, or now you can see here activities described in the scriptures, the various vidhis, this is referring to the vidhis, if they are performed for the pleasure of Hari, so Harim Uddishya, or towards Hari, are called as Bhakti. Saiva Bhaktir iti prokta. So any activity described in the scriptures, not outside the scriptures, within the scriptural injunctions. So all the activities that are the do's, and also it includes the don'ts. But the do's, which are for the pleasure of Hari, are called bhakti. And taya bhakti para bhavet. By performing these activities, iti ya kriya, by performing these, para bhakti para bhavet. What one gets is the para bhakti. What is the para bhakti? Which is bhava and prema bhakti, which is our sadhya. It is our goal. It is our the end result that of performing sadhana bhakti. So Vaidhi Bhakti leads to prema bhakti, the ultimate goal. So the point, this is the last slide on this topic. Vaidhi Bhakti absolutely has the capacity to lead to prema bhakti. So one should not get discouraged that I have to do Raganuga Bhakti. Vaidhi Bhakti and Raganuga Bhakti are two parallel tracks. Both lead to the end destination. Now we start a new topic in Nectar of Devotion. This is chapter number 3. And this talks about eligibility of various devotees to do Vaidhi Bhakti. I will explain in more detail. But before we go ahead, are there any questions or comments on what we have discussed so far? Anything so far?
I have a question, Prabhuji.
Yes.
Will there be more details on how to do Vaidhi Bhakti?
Oh, that is 70% of the whole course.
Okay, thank
70%.
you.
So yes, Rupa Goswami is not going to leave us in the middle. He will give us absolute full, he'll pack us. He will give us more than we can chew. He'll give us a full, what you call, have you gone to a big hotel where there is a buffet? You pay like, I don't know, in India, you pay like 2,000 rupees or 5,000, all you can eat. But you can't even taste all the dishes because there are so many of them. You have to come another day to taste the remaining ones. So I'm sure you must have been to such a place. So
Thank you.
yeah, so our Rupa Goswami is like that. He has created a menu which you cannot finish in this lifetime, tasting all the items of Vaidhi Bhakti. Okay. So yes, absolutely. 1 second. I'm trying to open things here. Okay. So now, but this is a very systematic study. So please remember, have patience. You are here to learn quantum mechanics. So before we learn quantum mechanics, we have to first study the structure of hydrogen atom. So there may be a feeling of excitement. Okay, when will that, the fun part come? Let's go in sequence. Soon enough, we will get to those topics which we are all waiting for. So first, let us go into the topic of qualification and eligibility. Though I have said verses, I'm making a small distinction here, but two topics, qualification and eligibility, they are both combined as the term adhikari, or adhikar, as you know, in Hindi means that I am eligible for it. Mera adhikar hai ye, which means I am qualified for it or something like that. So qualification, eligibility. So let us see what it means. So this means adhikari or a qualification for uttama bhakti. So once again, what is uttama bhakti? Who can tell? Yes, Shamlila Mataji, did you raise your hand?
No, Prabhuji, sorry.
Okay, but you can tell what is uttama bhakti. Can you?
So Uttam Adhikari or Uttama Bhakti, Prabhuji?
Uttama bhakti.
So one that is done without any like selfish or ulterior motive, just to please the Lord.
Okay. Damodar Krishna Prabhu?
Yes, Prabhuji.
Yes.
Anyabhilashita. No other, only desire to serve Krishna and to get the love for Krishna, no other desire.
Anukulyena Krishna
Krishnanu.
Shilanam. Very nice. So that is Uttama Bhakti. So who is a adhikari? or eligible for that level of bhakti. So let us see that. So the large part of today's discussion is based on this. So please try to focus on this discussion. And you can then judge later on, are you eligible or not for uttama bhakti. So today we are going to give we are going to hand out grades, A grade, B grade. You can see which grade you are in, okay? So I'm just joking. So far it has been established that bhakti is for everyone. Okay, even uttama bhakti is for everyone, isn't it? It has no disqualification criteria due to any bodily aspects like birth, gender, your color of your skin, your caste, creed, anything. They are not impediments to perform uttama bhakti. But still there is some qualification needed. So what does it mean? If it is not bodily, then what? Which means that it is something which has to be earned. So there is some qualification that is needed to become a uttama bhakta. But you can earn it. You can earn that qualification. Anybody can earn it. For example, a store is open for everyone, but it doesn't mean you can walk out with whatever product you want. It's not free for all. You need money. You need to earn money to purchase things from the store, but entry into the store, please note this, entry into the store is for everyone. Exit is not for everyone. Exit means exit with a product. You can exit empty-handed, that's fine. But if you want any product in hand, you have to pay the money. And the higher the cost of the product, the more money you need to have in your pocket, isn't it? So that is the meaning. So just a contrast. Attainment of jnana is limited to sannyasis. Okay? Grihastha cannot be a jnana yogi or a fully attained jnana yogi. As an example, the moment, for example, in Adi Shankaracharya's sampradaya, which is mainly jnana yoga based, at a certain point, sannyas is a must, absolute must. But in bhakti, sannyas is not a must, even at the highest possible level. Like the Pandavas, they were not jnana yogis, they were bhaktas. And they were married all the way till the end. So there are so many other examples. In Chaitanya Charitamrita, in Chaitanya Lila, we have example of Ambarish Maharaj, who was performing such a wonderful Ekadashi fast with his wife. And in many cases, it is written in Srimad Bhagavatam, wife was leading the way. So wife was ahead, husband was following. So that was the situation. So, and in Srimad Bhagavatam, for example, wives of the Brahmanas, 23rd chapter in 10th canto, the Brahmanas and the wives of the Brahmanas, and the wives were more advanced than the Brahmanas. So like that. So when we say eligibility, so I have already told this, eligibility or qualification for what? So there are two different contexts in which adhikari is used. Like I said, I have already told entry criteria and exit criteria. Both have adhikar. So there is some adhikar for even entering the store. It is not based on the body. So eligibility to perform bhakti, Vaidhi Bhakti is the entry criteria. Please try to understand. These are very systematically presented topics. If you listen carefully, you will understand. If you lose your attention in the middle, you will have to watch the recording again. And I'm delayed in uploading the recordings. So who knows when the recordings will be available. So please pay attention. It's very simple, but it requires your attention because it is sequential. A is building upon B is building upon C. So two contexts of the word adhikari. Eligibility to perform Vaidhi Bhakti, and then I have used another word, qualification, which is also known as adhikari, to be successful in Vaidhi Bhakti, which means attaining the sadhya, which is uttama bhakti or bhava or prema bhakti. Okay? Example, getting admitted in school. What is the eligibility to get admitted to school? In America, for example, you have to live in the school district. You cannot go to any other school and say, get me admission. They will say, go to your school district. So you need to be in the school district. You need to have proper ID. You need to have whatever various things to get admitted in the school. Versus to get A grade in the school in your final exam. You need different qualification. Of course, you need to be part of the school, but also you need to attend all your classes. You need to do your homeworks. You need to do whatever tests. Then you will get A grade in the school. So let us look at what is the adhikar. Adhikar means eligibility for performing Vaidhi Bhakti. And I guarantee you, most of the people here will fall in the category. Most of you. I am saying most, but it is 100%. Okay. So see, first one is attaining shraddha by great fortune. Okay. So attaining some shraddha in Vaidhi Bhakti. That yes, this is important for me. You have to have some faith or shraddha. And I think all of you have that because you are here. That's why you are here. Otherwise, why will you waste your Saturday evening, nice afternoon, evening in this class? And this primarily comes from previous Mahat Sangha or association of a devotee. Some devotee has instilled that faith in your heart. I will talk a little bit more about this, but this is a very, very important point. Though for devotees, even though they may be at a very beginning level, it's not very important because they have already received it. Okay, just like entry into a school, you're already living in the school district. So it's not very interesting. So, but still it is a very, very important criteria. Please note it just so that you know and remember it. And further, this shraddha, especially further refined, we will see this today, is in hearing Krishna Katha regularly from a pure devotee. So Krishna Katha, hearing Krishna Katha, that having that interest or that faith that yes, if I hear Krishna Katha, it will benefit me. It is for my benefit. So having that faith or that conviction is that shraddha, what is being talked about, and it comes simply by some great fortune of connecting with a great devotee, even for 5 minutes. Even for 5 minutes. Like obtaining a seed. Then you have to nurture the seed. But to grow a farm, the minimum qualification needed is you need to have a seed. Rest is your input. You can water, you can, do all the work. But the seed is the most important, which you have to get from someone else. And getting that seed doesn't take much time. You just get it. Now, the next two are very, very surprising. When I read it first time, I was very surprised. It is for those who are neither too attached to material enjoyment. So that is, we can understand it. Neither too attached. Yes, one should not be too attached. But it is also saying neither too detached. So you need not be too attached, or you should definitely not be too attached to material enjoyment, but it's also that you are not too detached from material enjoyment. So bhakti is basically giving us the middle path. It's the middle path for the people, or people in the middle. People who are too attached to material enjoyment, they may not take up to any spiritual path because they are just going to stay in material enjoyment. For them, everything is khao, piyo, mast raho. Eat, drink, and be merry. That is the mantra of life. I recently heard this thing. What is that? YOLO. Anybody knows the YOLO principle? Huh? Shamlila Mataji, you know YOLO?
You only live once.
Yes. YOLO. So that's a YOLO cult. You only live once. Means like, as if this is your last life or whatever, this is it. If you cannot enjoy to the fullest, then you are a fool. So such people will never take to any spiritual practice, let alone Bhakti Yoga. But it is also for those who are not too detached from material sense enjoyment, because one who is too detached will not be able to take up Bhakti, because Bhakti requires use of one's senses. Didn't we discuss that is sadhan Bhakti? Sadhan Bhakti is Bhakti that is performed by our senses. But one who is too detached from everything, he will not be able to use any articles, any of his senses for sadhan Bhakti. So he will go into Jnana Yoga and those paths, those spiritual paths. Now, one who is very, very attached to sense enjoyment, first of all, he may not even take up any spiritual path. But even if there is some spiritual path he wants to take up, he will take up Karma Yoga. And that too, starting with Sakama Karma Yoga. And that's the slow path to making progress. As Bhagavad Gita, we have he may worship demigods for getting more sense gratification. He may go to even Swarga, where he will enjoy with apsaras and this and that, maximum sense enjoyment. But like that, he kind of keeps going in the cycle. So we have studied that in Bhagavad Gita, but one may get into that kind of yoga practice, Sakama Karma Yoga practice at best. So Bhakti Yoga is the path for those who are neither here nor there. I found it very encouraging that I do not have to be completely detached to be eligible to get admission in the school of Bhakti Yoga. For how many of you feel some sense of, encouragement? That yes, this is the right path for me. All right, very nice. So let us see from now we will move quickly. 14th verse of Bhakti-rasāmṛta-sindhu. So we will see the 3 criteria listed here. Yah kenapi ati bhagyena. So first is jata shraddhosya sevane. Ati bhagya. Bhagya, you understand? Bhagya means fortune or luck, you can say. Ati bhagya means extreme fortune. There is this verse, beautiful verse in Chaitanya Charitamrita. Anybody can relate a verse, very famous verse from Chaitanya Charitamrita to this one?
Brahmana Brahmite
Brahmanda Brahmite Kon Bhagyavan Jiva Guru Krishna Prasade Paye Bhakti Lata Bija. Exact same meaning is there, that Bija comes to a Bhagyavan person. That Bija, which was originally manufactured by Krishna, this Bhakti Lata Bij, this Bij of Bhakti creeper, Bhakti Lata, is a Chit Shakti. It is the energy. It is directly of Krishna, but presented to us by a postman, mailman, whose name is what?
Chaitanya Mahaprabhu.
No, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is Krishna himself. Who is the postman?
Guru.
So Guru, Krishna Prasade Paye.
Rupa Goswami.
So Guru comes and gives us the Bhakti Lata Bij. So again here, Yaha kenapi ati bhagyena jata shraddhosya sevane. Then comes the next 2 criteria. Na ati asakto. Ati asakta means too attached. Na vairagya, nor too detached. Bhag asyam adhikarya asau. They are eligible to perform or to get into the process of Vaidhi Bhakti. So the translation. Surya Prabhu, can you read the translation quickly? You are muted.
Yeah. The person who has developed faith in serving the Lord by some great fortune, previous association with the devotees, who is not too attached to material objects and who is not too detached, is qualified for Vaidhi Bhakti.
Very nice. Thank you. So what are the 3 entry criteria? Shraddha, by some great fortune, ati bhagya, but the main thing is shraddha. Jata shraddho asya sevane. Na ati asakto, na vairagya. So bhakti is presenting the middle path. So this is Rupa Goswami's verse in Bhakti-rasāmṛta-sindhu. Now we see an evidence from Srimad Bhagavatam, 11th canto, 20th chapter, 8th verse. Yadrcchaya. So this word yadrcchaya means by great fortune, by some good luck. Mat kathadau jata shraddhostu yahpuman. So mat kathadau shraddha. Shraddha in hearing mat katha. Mat katha means my katha, Krishna katha. So by some fortune one gets the seed of shraddha to hear my katha. Na nirvinno na ati asakto. Same words are used. Nirvinno means not too detached. Na ati asakto, not too attached. Bhakti yogo asya siddhidaha. So, okay, let us see. Shalu Mataji, can you read the translation?
Sure. If somehow or other by good fortune one develops faith in hearing and seeing my glories, etc., such a person, being neither disgusted with nor very attached to material life, should achieve perfection through the path of Bhakti Yoga.
Very good. So I had colored etc. in a special color. So you will see here that mat kathadau. So mat katha adi means etc. So mat kathadau means there is more than Krishna katha, but the primary is Krishna katha. So we will unpack this more later, but this etc. is given here. Okay. So it is not exclusively or only Krishna katha, but that is the primary one. Okay. Now, yadrcchaya, or we can say also ati bhagyena as per Rupa Goswami, or yadrcchaya as per Srimad Bhagavatam, Lord Krishna. This means simply by the grace. And the grace has no conditions. You cannot demand grace. You cannot guarantee grace. Grace comes simply by its own. So very quickly we will go through this. Grace of whom? First, grace or kripa, it is called, of Krishna. But that is much rarer. So what is less rare or more common?
Devotees, grace of devotees.
Grace of Guru.
Very nice. And Guru is a devotee. So grace of a devotee of Krishna is far more prevalent. Far more prevalent. So, but it is grace. Okay. And there is no material reason whatsoever. Absolutely no material reason. Not even mode of goodness. Now, one may think this goes against what we have learned in Bhagavad Gita. Okay. But that is not the case. We had said that being in the mode of goodness gives one the best platform. Okay, like we give the example of airport. To catch a plane, the best place is airport. But what if the flight is cancelled? Just because you are in the airport, you cannot demand, isn't it? Sometimes they just send you back. Flight is cancelled. Sorry, sir. Okay, so that is the best platform, or you have the best opportunity. But there is no guarantee. Just as an example, okay? It's just an analogy. So mode of goodness definitely attracts the grace of devotees. But there is no guarantee. It may come very late for a person in the mode of goodness. You may have paid first class ticket price. Still the flight could be delayed. Isn't it? It's not that only for the economy class the flight is delayed and first class is, it arrives on time. If it is delayed, it is delayed. Even the first class passenger has to suffer. Or it may come to a person in the mode, there's a typo, in the mode of ignorance. It may come sooner. So bhakti, the main point is Bhakti Devi is not dependent on the material modes. Please understand, if she is dependent, it means she will be less powerful or subservient to material modes. Bhakti is not subservient to material modes. She is above material modes. She is the Chit Shakti of Krishna. She is the internal potency of Krishna. So what is the bottom line of this whole discussion? What is the one thing that you get from this discussion? Practical thing. Raise your hand. Why did we discuss this? Let us see. Yes, Vikas Prabhu.
Get into the mode of goodness.
Okay. Let us see. Ananya Mataji.
So, Prabhuji, I think to get Krishna's mercy or grace, we need to associate with the devotees of Krishna and try to seek their grace. And as long as, simultaneously, we should try to put ourselves in mode of goodness too.
Very nice. So, Vikas Prabhu gave half the answer. You completed the answer. So, obviously, you cannot go and request grace of a devotee and behave like a complete jerk. Okay. So then, if the devotee is very, 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 very compassionate, then you may still get the grace. But again, the best platform or the best situation to get the grace of a devotee is to have a very humble and, yourself a very mode of goodness attitude. But then after that, desperately seek out the association of a pure devotee. So that is the bottom line. Now, so that was the part of by great fortune, one may get the association or get that shraddha for hearing Krishna Katha. And a pure devotee will only speak Krishna Katha. So if you are associating with pure devotee, you are bound to hear Krishna Katha. Now we will discuss the next two aspects. What are the next two criteria other than this we just discussed? You don't know.
Neither too attached or
neither too attached nor
or
neither too attached to materialism nor too detached to materialism.
Yes.
Detached.
Yes, very nice. So too much, very quickly we'll go through, too much material attachment is an impediment to bhakti. Kindly mute yourself. Okay. And even such people may have faith in scripture, but their material sense attachment to sense gratification, sense objects is so much that even though they may have faith in the heart, but they cannot actually take up the practice of bhakti, because bhakti is again engagement of the senses. That is, please remember that sadhana bhakti is engagement of senses. But their senses are busy with the other sense objects, material sense objects. So even though the faith, the shraddha may be there, they just don't have the power, you can say, or the determination, or the time or energy to use their senses in sadhana bhakti. Okay. And those who are too detached, we already discussed this, cannot perform bhakti because bhakti needs use of articles. It is also use of the senses, but they're all detached from all sense objects, everything. So using the senses is not with their cup of tea for those who are too detached or vairagya. And they even don't get attached out of their detachment. They cannot attach themselves to a form of the Lord. In bhakti, later on we will see one has to meditate on the form, a form of the Lord. Even definitely Krishna form, but even Krishna has thousands of forms. So a specific form of Krishna, also all this is attachment for the two detached. And they take to the process of jnana. So, yeah. So let us see. Yeah, so now this brings us to the point of shraddha. So shraddha is a type of a conditioning. In the normal, most basic sense, shraddha is called conditioning or a samskara in the heart. and it comes from past association. Okay, so one gets shraddha for hearing Krishna Katha. But what is shraddha? Shraddha could be for material things. Look at this, for example. What is good? What is bad? Right versus wrong. What to do? What to avoid? All this comes from our past conditioning. Okay, just like, let us say, in India, if there is red light, you will, in the night, you will look left and right. If nobody is coming, you will go, even though the light is red. So that is past conditioning. But over here in America, even if there is no police, even if there is no traffic, I have never seen people do that. It is part of the conditioning. So that is also our shraddha in the traffic light. So one has to understand that our shraddha really comes from our conditioning. So even though we have received that shraddha, we must try to develop it further. We may have received it, but it is our job to positively develop that shraddha into something more fruitful. So in this current context, shraddha means belief or inclination towards shastra. And you might have seen that in some families, this may have been a practice that, okay, you must read some shastra or this or that. That may have been a prior sort of a, conditioning or a samskara for such people when they come in contact with bhakti and they find out, oh, this is the process of making spiritual progress. I was just doing it because it was part of my family culture. Then they are much easily able to take it further, and they don't need much convincing that this is something very potent. They naturally take to it, and now it is more meaningful for them. So that is the context in which shraddha is being used. Okay, so now we have discussed all the topics of okay, stopped sharing, so let me share this. So we discussed all these topics, which is ati bhagyena jata shraddha, na astika, na vairagya. We have discussed these three things. So one doubt arises in the mind. So let me share again. Are you able to see this sharing still? Okay, nice. So one doubt arises in the mind. Is it okay to stay attached to material enjoyment? That is one of the things, isn't it? Is it okay to do that? So I should have hidden the meaning of this verse, but without reading, what do you think? Is it okay to remain attached? Or what to do with our material attachment? So much we have heard in Bhagavad Gita and everywhere that one must reduce material attachments, material sense gratification. Why is Bhakti or the Vaidhi Bhakti eligibility saying that it is okay to have material attachment? Some material attachment, not a lot, but some. And in fact, it is something that is necessary. If you are too detached, then Bhakti is not for you. What? If I am completely detached from sense gratification, then I don't have the opportunity or eligibility. I cannot get admission in the school of Bhakti. You must be kidding. Sense gratification is supposed to be bad. So let us see what Sai Prabhu is saying.
Agyan, knowing Gyan and Agyan both are necessary.
Yeah, true. Well, that is also true. But here I am talking about more practical. So yeah, Sai Prabhu is saying bhakti means attachment to Krishna. That is true. But here we are talking about material enjoyment. It's very clearly the title says, is it okay to stay attached to material enjoyment? That is
Prabhuji, My understanding is as long as we are happy and we are content, we will be more willing to the path of bhakti, because we will get enjoyment from that too.
Okay. Okay, let us see. But we have heard that we must reduce attachment. Vikas Prabhu?
My interpretation is that it relates to the criteria of how much enjoyment or attachment is too much and how little is too little. And that criteria, what I understood from your narratives, is that if we are unable to use our senses to do bhakti for God, then that's too little attachment. And sorry, too much attachment, because we have used those resources elsewhere. If we are so detached that we don't even want to use the senses that we can control to do the bhakti for the Lord, then we are too detached. So it's essentially a criteria whether you can use those senses and for what use.
But you have repeated what I said. I think this is a new question. What you have summarized, you have nicely summarized the discussion so far, if I'm not wrong.
That's correct. I'm answering this question in the context of what has been discussed.
Correct. But it's a new question for something we have not discussed.
Okay.
And let me put the question more, maybe it's my fault, I didn't present the question correctly. How come any kind of material attachment is being allowed? Shouldn't we have no attachment, no material attachment to sense gratification? Or in other words, what? Actually, that's not the question. What should we do about the material attachment to sense gratification that we do have today? What should we do about it? Should we continue? Is it okay to continue to be attached? How should we deal with ourselves? What should be our mood, or what should be our conversation while we are doing sense gratification? And we have already gained eligibility to do bhakti. So, okay, there are too many hands, so we'll stop at this point and no more hands. Abhimanyu Prabhu or Anjana Mataji, you want to say something?
Prabhuji, I just wanted to say that, idea is that you redirect your attachment. It could be, maybe I see it from the point of view that I might have material attachment, but I like decorating Krishna. I like dressing him up. So it could be a material attachment, but I have redirected that material attachment towards bhakti.
Very nice. But the remaining material attachment that you have, let us say, for decorating yourself to look beautiful or whatever.
It's gradual, Prabhuji. I mean, what I understood so far is that you don't want to be an extreme. You don't want to be fanatic. You take a middle path towards Krishna consciousness, and it's a gradual process. It's not an overnight that's what I.
Very good. Good. Okay. Shamlila Mataji.
Prabhuji, so similar to what Mataji said, dovetailing it to bhakti, but also like Bhagwan himself says in Bhagavad Gita that you can't pretend, otherwise you're a mithyachari. If you have like if your mind is constantly focused on something and then you just say, oh, I'm like restrain it despite it being focused on something, then you just become a mithyachari. So dovetailing whatever, for example, if I want a house, then I must think of it with the consciousness that, okay, if I live in a safe neighborhood, in a good house, I can chant properly.
Good.
Rather than just, oh, I want to enjoy a good neighborhood.
Good. Very nice. Thank you. Medha Mataji.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji. All the senses you dovetail, as Mataji said, in Krishna's service. All your senses should be in Krishna's service, and remember him at all times. Smaran, with everything is to be engaged in his service to please him. That's how you can go about in the material world.
Okay.
Whatever you do.
You are saying how to dovetail is most what many devotees said. The question really is what to do with the remaining that we do have for our actual sense gratification. our sense gratification. So there is this very beautiful verse again from 11th canto. 11th canto has a very detailed description of Krishna Bhakti in Uddhava Gita. So it says that, and Jiva Goswami quotes this. So I'm going into a little bit more detail because this is the very practical part of the discussion that I wanted to have today. So this says that having awakened faith in the narrations of my glories, Jata Shraddho Mat Kathasu. So this is pretty much the whole verse I have quoted here, these two verses. Being disgusted with all material activities, Nirvinnaha Sarva Karmasu. So being disgusted or being like, when will I get relief from all my own sense enjoyment? So having a sense of disgust. Knowing that all sense gratification leads to misery. Veda dukkhatmakan kaman. Veda means to know. Yes, I am doing sense gratification. Every person who smokes a cigarette knows, yes, one day it will come back and bite me. I hope that that day is very far away, or, it never comes, but it has a very high possibility of coming. So to know that this sense gratification leads to misery, but still being unable to renounce all sense enjoyment, parityage api anishwaraha, very important word, I will dissect this, very important, yet unable to give it up. Even if you know that it is harmful, it will bring suffering, we are unable to give it up because we are weak. We are weak in heart. This is known as Hridaya Durbalata, Hridaya Daurbalyam, the Durbalata, the weakness of the heart. What should the devotee do? My devotee should remain happy, not be too wound up in this conversation like a, what you call, not make it a psychiatric issue, or you have to then, you're completely going crazy. Why? Or self-loathing, or no such thing should happen. Tato bhajeta mam pritaha. My devotee should remain happy and worship me with great faith and conviction. Shraddhalur drih nishchaya. So mam pritaha shraddhalur drih nishchaya. So tato bhajeta. Keep doing my bhajan with love and determination. Even though sometimes he is engaged in sense enjoyment. Okay. Jushamanascha tan kaman. My devotee knows, again, the same thing, that sense gratification leads to a miserable result, and he sincerely repents these activities. Garhayan. Garhayan means there is repentance. So let us see what this verse, this breakdown of this verse is. So one may have shraddha in my katha. So it's quick recap of what's there in the verse. And maybe disgusted also with this. Why am I doing it? But when the time comes, let's say anger or something else, smoking or drinking, meat eating, whatever are the regulative principles, or one is, prone to breaking, but is still not able to control himself. Why does it happen? Because senses are very powerful. That is the main reason. Parityage api anishwara. This is a very important word, that he's unable to give it up. What it means? Parityaga. Tyaga means to give up, but it could be temporary. So temporarily he can give up. But parityaga means permanently give up. So he's not able to. Anishwara. Ishwara means controller. So he's not in control. Anishwara means he's not in control of his senses. And due to that, he cannot give up the sense gratification permanently. He may be able to do it for longer and longer periods of time, but they keep coming back. Yet he still understands. See, this is an important thing. One must have that understanding. At least this is the beginning stage. Please remember, I have said in the beginning stages. At least one should have the understanding that this sense gratification is a source of suffering. And then in more advanced stages, what does one do? Again, when one is still having this lack of control, one may bring all those qualities to bhakti as well, those bad qualities. Now, he is doing bhakti. We are talking about a devotee, not just a sense gratifier who has nothing to do with bhakti. Sometimes these bad qualities, after a long time of doing bhakti, may show up in bhakti as well. For example, like jealousy or competition with other devotees. Oh, he is getting all the greed for appreciation, praise. Oh, he got praised by those other devotees. I also sing nicely, but nobody praises me. He cannot even sing as nicely as me, but other people like his singing. So many things, or doing seva in a grudging mood, because to look good, I have to do seva, but why I have to do like this? Why cannot there be 5 more people with me to offload my work or offload my seva? We can all, I could have done less. Or manipulating other devotees, whatever way, intolerance towards other devotees. So these bad qualities can come in even a devotee's life. First, they may come in material life, and he's trying to do bhakti. When he is doing more and more bhakti, these bad qualities may still persist. So I'm just showing a picture of a devotee with some of these bad qualities, which are basically lack of control over his senses. So the solution is coming in number 28, which we already discussed. Krishna is giving the middle solution. So make a firm resolve that even if I am unable to give up sense enjoyment, I will continue to perform sadhana bhakti. That is the most important component of the solution. Come to terms with yourself, make a deal with yourself, make a deal with Bhagavan. I have these bad qualities. Please accept me as I am. I will never leave your bhakti. Make that firm commitment to Bhagavan. Have shraddha in shastra. Continually, every day, do Bhagavat Shravana and Nam Kirtan with absorption, not mechanically, with absorption. The main aspect is when you are impelled to do sense gratification, you lose control over yourself. But at other times, it's not that one is such a person continues to do sense gratification 24 hours a day. That is not possible. So you do have pockets of time when you are engaging in sadhana bhakti. Those times when one is engaging in sadhana bhakti, do it with complete absorption. 3 hours later, I will, get a smoke. Okay, I have that bad quality. But right now I am doing sadhana bhakti. Let me do it with full absorption. Full absorption, do it. And like one of the devotees said about mithyachar, don't pretend. Don't artificially choke or suppress your urge for sense gratification. Continue to associate with the object of sense gratification. You don't have to artificially stop yourself. Otherwise, it will come back even more strongly. Knowing, but know that it will bring suffering. So whatever suffering will come, and when the suffering comes, own it up. Take responsibility for it. Repent for your actions. Sometimes the suffering may be a little strong, which may help you to move away from it as well. But one day, even it's not because of the consequences that you will move away from it. It is because of bhakti that you will move away. Sometimes the consequences may also help to move away, but that's not the main point. The thing that will actually make you move away from sense gratification is Bhakti Devi herself. Bhakti will give natural renunciation automatically and quickly. I can tell you from my own personal life, this is true. And several devotees who have been, again, sincerely performing bhakti, not mithyachar, not pretense, okay, and not insincerely or mechanically or externally. That is also another form of mithyachar or pretense only. So those who have sincerely been doing it, even though they have some propensity for sense gratification, report that their sense gratification propensity is reducing very quickly. This is not fake news. Any devotees are brave enough to raise their hand and confirm this? No details, just that this is true. I can say it in my life. See, some devotees are raising their hands. Okay, so this should encourage all of you. Okay. And then the joy that one experiences will be so much more than sense enjoyment that one will fully give it up. So the bottom line is that, okay, to do sense enjoyment, don't suppress yourself, but never leave the path of sincere sadhana bhakti. Do that. Make a deal with God, with Krishna. I will do sincere sadhana bhakti. But if my senses take me away temporarily, I will go on a trip and come back very soon and do very sincere sadhana bhakti. Okay, when not indulging in sense enjoyment, and slowly you will see that bhakti will completely, remove your propensities. Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur gives even more specifics. So he says, Shraddhalur mat katha shrinvan. So Shraddha, he says, is specifically referring to Krishna Katha. Shraddhalur mat katha. And what does he do? Krishna Katha, one should hear it, shrinvan. And first of all, it is Subhadra Loka Pavani. It is very, very auspicious. It brings auspiciousness in one's life. So one should hear, shrinvan, gayan, to sing. Anusmaran karma. One should remember it, anusmarana. Okay, even when you are in the toilet, okay, try to remember what you have read 1 hour back. No harm. You can use your mind to remember Krishna even in the toilet. Some people ask, can I chant in the toilet? I said, don't chant in the toilet, but at least you can, in your mind, you can remember whatever Krishna Katha you read yesterday or today. Just review it in your mind. What all were the episodes? What all were the points? And karma janma cha abhinayan, enact plays, because when you enact plays, you have to, you are a character in the play, so you have to embody that character. So if you are playing the part of a devotee, to be a good actor, you have to get into the role. That's what makes you a good actor. So you are, getting into the role of a good devotee, even for the sake of acting. So that is why abhinayan is enact plays. Muhu, repeatedly continue to do this. And here Krishna Katha specifically means Katha of Lord Shri Krishna, which means the 10th canto pastimes. Specifically Krishna Katha. So it has a lot of potency. So bottom line is, desperately seek out hearing Krishna Katha, especially from a pure devotee. Krishna Katha has a lot of potency. That is why you will see many acharyas have written commentary on full Bhagavatam, like Sridhar Swami, Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, and Jiva Goswami. But many acharyas have written commentaries only on 10th canto, extra, because they want us to relish 10th canto, which is directly Krishna Katha, more and more deeply. All right, so that is one part of the discussion. So I think we should stop here because it's 4:47. So this is a whole different, let's see. So let me take you a little bit into it and then we'll stop, like a, typically like an American, whatever, season, so that you have left to, you'll be thinking about it. So, like, what do you call these in movies? Sometimes, what do you call it? Post-credit scene or something to give you excitement for the next class. So now comes the 3 categories of the qualification of a devotee. That means how to become a uttama bhakta, how to get A grade. Now you know how to get admission into the school of bhakti. That is by bhagya to get shraddha, ati bhagya. Then not too attached and not too detached. And then we discussed into detail what is the meaning of not too attached, what to do about it, for the lingering attachments that still exist, what to do about those, how to deal with those. Okay, now once you have started performing sadhana bhakti, now you're performing sadhana bhakti, which means you're doing your sadhana, means you're utilizing the means and processes of sadhana, bhakti. How do you become good at it? How to become good? So the most important thing Rupa Goswami says, so he says there are three categories. Uttama madhyamascha syat kanishthas cheti ti sa tridha. There are three divisions of the qualified people, like good, better, best. So there is a highly qualified devotee to become a Uttam Bhakta, less qualified and least qualified. Okay? Like, to get A grade, who is the most qualified to get an A grades in the class? Who has not missed a single class, attended all the classes of the lecture, all the lectures very sincerely, has done all the homeworks, has read the textbook, has read the alternate textbook. Sometimes there is a main textbook and a supplementary textbook. He has read both of them. Would you say he is the most well qualified to get A grade? Right? Then second one may be that, okay, he has only done the main textbook and attended 80% of the classes and done like homeworks, 80% of the homeworks. And least qualified is one who has only attended 50% of the classes, and so on. So all these, so the criteria are what? How much classes you have attended, how many homeworks you have done. I'm just giving an analogy. Similarly, in bhakti, it is all around shastra, and then in three areas. Shastra nipunta. Nipunta means expertise in shastra, which means how much he knows shastra. Second is shastra yukti. Yukti means using the shastra to convince others. So not only he knows it, he knows how to connect the dots. But this verse says this. Then the opponent will say something else. Then he will say, no, but that other verse says so and so. So your point is defeated. And like that, he can, convince others. So he's complete. It's also related to mastery or complete expertise of the Shastra. And he has complete faith in Shastra. That even when he is challenged or put in doubt, or maybe once in a while if he's defeated, his own conviction never shakes. The only thing he will feel is maybe I missed something. My expertise is not enough. Or, he'll go back and do his research. But he doesn't doubt the faith in that the Shastra is wrong or does not have the full answers. So he never doubts. That faith is immovable. It's rock solid, as you can say. So I have actually explained the whole topic at this point. So next time we'll go fast. So I have just drawn a quick recap diagram. So one, we started with eligibility to start bhakti, which was grace, not too attached, not too detached. Then now one once has received this eligibility, one could directly or very quickly go to Madhyama level, or could stay at Kanishtha level. So Kanishtha means least qualified. Then we have to make ourselves better qualified and then most qualified. Uttama adhikari. Uttama adhikari is not equal to Uttam Bhakta. Please note this. Many people have this confusion. Uttam adhikari means Uttam Bhakta. No, Uttam adhikari means you are most well qualified or well prepared to get an A grade, which means to become an Uttama Bhakta. Okay, so as a Uttam adhikari, one continues his sadhan bhakti and becomes Uttam Bhakta. Then he has, very, very high chances of becoming Uttam Bhakta. So we will stop here and we will go a little bit more into the detail of Kanishtha Adhikari, Madhyam Adhikari, Uttam Adhikari. And then we will cover a very big topic, not a big, it's also a small topic, but a very important topic of the supremacy of bhakti over moksha. That bhakti is far more superior than even moksha. And we will unpack that topic next time. Actually, next week, Saturday, there will be no class. So now we will skip class for 1 week. I'll be in Gainesville, Florida for a conference of Bhaktivedanta Institute. It's a conference on Vedic cosmology. So I have been invited to attend that, and I will be moderating a session and so on. So next week, no class, definitely. That's why I wanted to do today's class, so that there's no 2 weeks gap, only 1 week gap. And then we will continue with our discussion. Okay, any comments or questions?
Yeah, Prabhuji, one question, and you don't have to answer it today. We can take it up in 2 weeks. On the previous page.
Okay, sorry, I will share.
Thank you. The knowledge of the Shastras over here seems to be evaluated in the context of a debate to be able to win a particular argument.
Not
Whereas
only that,
I would have...
But to also convince others, one who is a innocent ignorant.
Understood.
It could be an argumentative ignorant, or it could be an innocent. Yeah, go ahead.
Understood. But I would have imagined that the qualification of a devotee in terms of expertise and knowledge will be to essentially remove the darkness inside of them and elevate themselves, not necessarily in a contest with others. If you could provide a little bit of a discourse on this next time, I'd greatly appreciate it.
Sure, we can talk about it next time, but I want to give a brief so that everybody, including yourself, is satisfied.
Thank you.
It's not about, the desire is not for me to win. I am the winner. My name, or the devotee, uttama adhikari, doesn't think my name will come up on the, list of the all-time greats. Okay, so that is not the intent. The intent is promotion of bhakti, prachar. So if somebody had not done this prachar, we would not have received it. That is the point. So there is definitely a genuine need to go ahead and establish the siddhanta. Plus, there are many what we say as wrong siddhantas out there. So many, like I am God. This whole thing about, that anybody can become God. And all these other Mayavadi siddhantas, or even sense gratification, like there is no God, atheism. Why are you doing all this backward thing, Prabhu? Why you are going to all this temple or even doing japa? What is this? You keep chanting Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. You don't have anything better to do. You're such a loser. Well, then maybe you don't have to worry. You can easily say as a bhakta, thank you, Prabhu. I am, I'll go back and do my own thing. You do your thing very humbly. But people write books about it. This is getting, mass publicity. Then somebody has to take on the mantle to defeat those arguments, to establish bhakti so that innocent people, the masses, are not misled and they can get the proper arguments and convincing arguments so that ultimately they take on bhakti. Because if that is not done, then bhakti will not propagate. And our acharyas, our acharyas needn't write all these detailed commentaries. Their detailed commentaries was not for, of course, it was for their relishment, but was not only for their relishment. Majority of the reason, if they would needed to relish, they could have just relished it. They needed to have penned it down. That is, they are passing it down to us. It behooves us to, for the few, again, this is not for everyone. For the few, for most of the people, it is just the third one, the first and third, Shastra Nipunata and Shastra Shraddha. For that is personal. Shastra Yukti means for those who are interested in taking a step further and sharing what they have received. In Bhagavad Gita also, 18th chapter, 68th, 69th verse, Lord Krishna says that, go ahead and share this with others. So there is that vested interest. And Shastra Nipunata, using Shastra Nipunata in Shastra Yukti is encouraged only for the purpose of bringing others on the path of bhakti, not to establish myself as the biggest winner or anything like that. If that was the case, the acharyas needn't have written all these wonderful commentaries. And if you see, most of the commentaries are basically like they come up with a question which the other party may ask, and they give an answer. somebody could say so and so, and here is the answer. That is a way of arguing solo arguments. But basically, they are just writing down, hey, if somebody challenges you with this doubt, here is the answer to yourself. Don't get moved. So I hope that helps.
Thank you.
Okay, there's a message from Sai Prabhu. Bhakti means akama sarvakama va verse says that simply by focusing that to tivra bhakti we can get to Krishna. That verse does not say we give up sarvakama. Yes, that is true. It does not say give up sarvakama, but that is the understanding we get, that we must definitely try to, again, don't give it up, but according we have to put it all in the right full sort of overall context. These other verses that I showed you from the Srimad Bhagavatam, they are saying that one should feel repentance. One should also have the knowledge that, yes, I am doing my sense gratification. Sooner or later, it will bring suffering. And when it does, if and when, I need to own it up. So that readiness should be there in one's heart. And there should be some repentance about it. And like that, with that mood, not like, okay, I have got a license to enjoy. I have done my 3 hours of bhakti. Now, come on, go out and, work hard and play harder. That is not the mood of, I have done my 3 hours of bhakti. Now I will double down on my sense enjoyment as if there is no tomorrow. No YOLO mentality, so there needs to be that sense that, yes, this is not good, but I am weak in controlling my senses. So I am not going to, try to fight it or try to be a pretender. But I accept it. I accept my weakness. And at the same time, I will not give up my bhakti. So there is a difference in the mood about it. But one day, sooner or later, Bhakti Devi will cure. So that's what that verse is focusing on, that bhakti will come and cure all our sense gratification propensity. So yes, it is not showing the solution of what to do with the remaining sense gratification propensity we do have. It is not answering that, which other verses answer. That is only focusing that bhakti will take away that propensity sooner or later. So every verse has a certain focus point, and we have to put together all of them from various verses. I hope that answered that point. Every verse need not have the full Siddhanta. Otherwise, then one verse would have been enough. Why 18,000 verses in Bhagavatam? If one verse answers all questions. Okay. All right. I hope that was okay. Okay. Thank you very much. Wish you all a very, very happy Deepavali Maha Mahotsav. And we will see you in 2 weeks. Thank you.
Happy Diwali.
Srila Prabhupada.
Thank you, Prabhuji.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Happy Deepavali to all.
Thank you.
Prabhuji, happy Diwali to all.
Thank
you.
Thank you,
Thank
Prabhuji.
you.
Thank you,
Thank you so
Mataji.
much.
Hare Krishna.
Thank you.
सभी को दीपावली की शुभकामनाएं.
धन्यवाद. आपको भी.
Prabhuji, thank you. Happy Deepavali.
Thank you, Mataji. Same to you.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Happy Diwali.
Hare. Thank you.
Hare
Hare
Krishna.
Krishna Prabhuji, thank you so much. Happy Deepavali to you and Mataji.
Thank you, Mataji. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Diwali.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Thank you. Hare Krishna. Okay, we will close the call then. Thank you. Hare Krishna.